That's what started me on my path to deconversion as well, was finding a video from the ACA that presented an argument that I was somewhat familiar with, and then went, hey, wait a minute, that doesn't really make sense.
There's always a point where, you think that someone on a call is presenting a really shallow, dumb argument. It's not that the person's dumb, but they're putting forth an argument that just gets completely shred to bits on air, and you're like, oh, I could never see someone, make that argument around me. The people I know are so much smarter. And then you hear them when they're not up against someone like Matt who knows how to counter it. You hear your friends and family say the same exact argument, and something in your mind kind of clicks, and you're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Is this the type of stuff I've been spoon-fed by the people around me, that maybe they're very bright and intelligent, but they just haven't really stopped to really look beneath the surface and take this argument apart? And I think that's really powerful.
Yeah, it's difficult to question your own beliefs, particularly if they're cultural and communal. Well, this is an amazing call. I hope that you, are able to find as much community locally as you want and online.
So, JB, can I ask one little question really quickly before I go?
Yeah, of course.
So, Jamie, are you part of the LGBT community?
Yeah.
Or I don't want to.
I'm
rude
queer,
or anything?
so no, you're fine.
Yeah.
I've brought it up on the show.
Yeah, because I heard that, and it's just I'm part of and I would consider myself to be a lesbian, a 13-year-old lesbian. That could change, but I know for a fact that I like women, girls, whatever. But and it's just that people atheists are so not judgmental, but compared to a very Christian grandmother and grandparents, and I think it's very cool and accepting that I have a community.
Yeah.
Aleah, you said that you're 13 years old. I'm assuming that you're living with family. Are you out to them as an atheist or as a lesbian, or are you still in the closet?
My parents know that I don't believe in God, sort of, and they're just kind of trying to convince me a little bit, but they're kind of chill with my beliefs at the moment. Because my stepdad is a Christian, and my mom is a Christian, but she's also Native American, which, incorporates her own beliefs about traditional Native American customs. Kind of contradictory, but,
So they're fairly accepting?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm out to them.
I'm glad to hear that.
It's just my grandmother. I wanted to come out to her, on my dad's side, my biological dad's side. And, I tried to approach the subject, and she said, before I could even, tell her that I liked girls, she said that they were she didn't say, she wasn't all crazy, they all deserve to die, the queers or whatever, but she was just they're very lost souls, and, if they don't get, right on the path of Christ, they're going to die, basically, and go to hell. Yeah. And so I kind of, that kind of hurt me a little bit, because, that's what my grandmother thinks of me, just, not openly, I guess.
And it's so hard. It's so hard to have those conversations and to open up with people that you love when you start talking about it in the abstract. And they say something like, well, at least you're not queer. At least you're not an atheist. At least you're not, and instantly you realize that there's such a tremendous level of judgment that has been so heavily ingrained in them over the course of decades that you can't even start to have these conversations without first tearing down the walls of stigma and the, bigotry or presuppositions that they have about what defines you, what it means to be gay or what it means to be an atheist. So I'm sorry that that's been hard for you.
Yeah, it was hard, but I'm trudging through it, and I still love my grandmother with all my heart, and we have a really good relationship. I just feel like I also learned throughout my life that you don't have to be open to everyone. You can have a relationship with someone, and you not tell them.
Yeah.
And
My grandma died this last year, and she never knew that I was an atheist, and she was very religious. And it's one of those things. She never really went online at the end. She was just in a nursing home, and I figured it wasn't one of those conversations that was really worth having. It didn't change my life in any way. I could still be out publicly and openly, but I didn't want to just come to my grandma and be like, I don't believe in God, in her last, dying months. It's just not, you don't have to always have those conversations if you don't want to.
Yeah, like I can attest to that a little bit with being an atheist. There's actually quite a few people that I'm very close to that don't know, and luckily don't troll YouTube for atheists. Otherwise, they would find that. But that actually is really difficult. One of the things that you said was that your grandmother made a statement about LGBTQ folks being bound for hell if they don't get right for get right with God. And you then after that said that that hurts. It does. I've been there, and my being there doesn't make it easier for me or you or anyone to hear that. But one of the things I will say is, if your grandmother doesn't know that about you, she's not thinking of that about you. So I have had through my life, it's cold comfort, but I've had through my life many people that until they knew that I was LGBTQ would say things like that. And even after they knew, even though they may or may not still hold those views, they don't talk about it, right? So there's an entire group of people, there's a few people that I'm close with that now know that I've dated men and don't bring it up. It's sort of like old school, he's a confirmed bachelor level of, well, what are you going to do level of stereotypical British countryside. Well, we just don't mention that, and then everything is fine, but we know that this thing that we say isn't fine is happening. And to me, in part, that's a testament that humans care about humans even when ideology and other things tell them not to. But it's kind of reassuring in a way to me, because it means these people that I know and have known my entire life, even though an aspect of my life, conflicts with their ideology and conflicts with their view of the world, they find a way to still be in my life and have me in theirs. It's almost a backwards way of looking at it, of like, well, they're kind of trying in a Christian apologetics, don't think about it kind of way to still have a relationship with me. And so whether or not your grandmother ever knows any of these things about you, she's thinking in the abstract about those people over there. And I don't want you to think that, every time your grandmother is saying that, she's looking you in the eyes and trying to tell you something, because that hurts way more.
Yeah, that does kind of hurt. And I know she probably wouldn't disown me because, I am her, oldest grandchild, and, we have a really close relationship. It's just, I don't want her to look at me in a different way, I guess, because he's, extremely religious. I don't know how to describe it, but, one time I got a mild skin rash, and she had a borderline exorcism come forward, not an exorcism, but there was, a prayer group, 3 people praying as if I had a demon casted in me, I guess.
Yeah, she may not be the most understanding person when it comes to religious matters. Sounds
like there's a lot of work that needs to be done, conversations that need to be had before you can even start approaching certain conversations. So if someone believes that demons are interacting with the world and causing people to behave certain ways, then you can't really start, having a conversation about, is the Bible accurate if they, the second that you say that, they're like, get behind me, Satan, you're of the devil. It makes it very difficult to have those conversations. So you may need to first have conversations about, hey, I learned this really interesting thing about sleep paralysis and the science behind it. And a lot of people attribute it to demons and stuff, but it's it has a natural explanation. I thought that was interesting. Or I learned that, about epilepsy and how people used to think that people who were epileptic were, possessed by demons. But now we know exactly what parts of the brain are firing and what's going on, and different chemicals that can treat it, and you have conversations like that, and they may say, well, maybe that's the case for that case, but demons are still out there and they're still real. But it kind of plants a little seed of doubt, and then you do that repetitively over the course of several months, several years, where you know, all of these different ideas that they have are slowly being chipped away at until there's not a whole lot left. And then, you know, when you say something, they're less likely to then just attribute it to demons just off the cuff.
Yeah, that's what the Catholic Church does. The Catholic Church now has a standard procedure for determining whether or not it's a real demon exorcism or whether it's a mental health issue.
A real, that's an oxymoron if I've ever heard one.
Well, yes. But
one that they think is real versus.
Yes, whether they are able to diagnose it as a mental health condition or whether they're going to propagate dangerous and harmful religious ideas.
So it's like the god of the gaps only with demons. It's the demons of the gaps.
It's the god of the gaps in your mind.
The gap demons.
Yeah. And it wasn't like I was acting, you know, kind of off or whatever. It was, you know, literally I had an allergic reaction to detergent or something in, you know, my clothes. It was something very minimal. Not even it wasn't affecting my behavior. Just like made my skin a bit, you know, red and puffy.
Did you send your clothes to Satan's laundromat?
Of course I did.
Yeah.
I would send my clothes to Satan's laundromat.
Yeah, it's sort of... the other day I learned there was a person in favor of banning all alcohol that would greet bartenders by saying, "Hello, destroyer of men's souls." And it was like a religious take on that. Well, anyway, Aleah, thanks for calling in. And, you know, there's a big
update. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Go without God.
So I have to say, for everyone who, you know, rants online about like, oh, this next generation is, you know, they're so dumb and they're, you know, they just watch. I have a lot of hope. And I probably have more hope for the upcoming generations than I do for the outgoing ones, because there is more access to information online than ever before. I see this community exploding. I see people who are just insatiably thirsty for knowledge and information, and they think critically, and they go out and they explore. I see science channels just taking off left and right. I see channels within the secular community taking off